Alright, what is up everybody? Hoang Zero here, and today I have for you the tournament report for the most recent Mesquite, Texas regionals, where I ended up taking first place with Adventure. So this video will be talking about the deck list, kind of how we got to this point, all of the effort put into this, and just, all that other jazz. But before I start, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of my friends, especially in the Hoang Zero mod chat. They have all been such amazing supporters. Thank you to both Zero and Hayes for this deck list. They put a lot of time and hours, a lot of time and energy into this deck list, and they gave me the list, and I spent a lot of time playing it, and just trying to get better with it, learning the ins and outs and whatnot. So I didn't do very much in terms of like the deck building aspect. I just like the pilot. So shout out to Zero and Hayes for the list. They definitely cooked up something amazing, and I think it's a really good list. I think 49 of the 50 cards in this list are perfect, and there's only one card where I was like, but like So yeah. And again, shout out to everyone. Shout out to all the people at my B&B. They were amazing support. Dan Vang, Weenie Whistle, Momin, aka Donkey Nog, and Outer Raccoon. Really great guys. Was a super fun trip. I had a blast, and it was so amazing. Just throughout the day, a bunch of people, I saw a lot of friends, including Brian, the Gmon player, aka my goat, Mr. Alter B himself. And I saw a bunch of different people, met a lot of new people, and everyone was just so nice. I had such a great time, and I had my opponent in the finals, Sakib, was also such a cool dude. Shout out to him. He had never played his deck before that very day, and he made it all the way to the finals, which is insane if you think about it. So shout out to him. But yeah, so this is the Hoang Zero first place adventure deck profile. And mind you, Adventure, and I double checked this, prior to yesterday, Adventure did not have any official Bandai tops in the entire world. Not just wins, but tops. I think it topped a couple store regionals and whatnot. I know Hayes topped his store regional, got second place with this list. Store regional is a store regional. It's not the the Bandai large events. Mesquite was 372 players, 9 rounds mandatory. So it was a lot, but yeah. And so I just wanted to really quickly, I've put a lot of time and effort into my Digimon gameplay, and so I just wanted to like show off really quickly because it's a Hoang Zero video. The very first regional playmat, this is the one that was out in 1.5. I think there are less than 10 copies of this in the entire world. Also, we're representing the Adventure swag, if you couldn't tell. And then that was with Rookie Rush. And then this was back in BT16 with Numemon. So this was my second regional win. And then now we have the brand new Takemikazuchi playmat for Adventure. Okay, so that aside, now, yeah. Picking my deck for the BT21 format. So mind you, right, this format is like the first post-unification format we've ever had. There is no pre-existing data for us to work with. We can't copy Asia. There are so few events in the world at the current moment, for some reason, that there's like no data to really work with. I think prior to this, we only had Pasadena and Niagara, and that was like very recently. Adventure had no results then. And so we very much so were working with like nothing. This was like from scratch kind of thing, right? And so my play style, I identified, I have the best performances with decks that are very free form. And what I mean by that is a deck where no matter what combination of cards I have, as long as they all like generally work, right? So like if I play a deck and it has like one specific card that I really need to see, and if I don't see it, my entire game plan falls apart, I probably am not going to do well with that deck. An example, I was considering Sakuyamon. But what frustrated me a lot is like, okay, if I didn't see my Tamer, then my green plugs were dead. If I didn't see that specific level 5 Taumon, the BT17 one, okay, well, my play was dead. And I would have to like work so much harder or try to make it work, and it's just like, it didn't really click with me. And for a while, I was playing a lot of Royal Knights, because Royal Knights kind of fits the bill of like, you have like free flexibility and whatnot. But Royal Knights I think the Magidra matchup can be really difficult at times because of the Gravity Crush innovation. Not only that, but I also think that a lot of people are teching for the Royal Knights matchup, so they're running like lots of Psychmon and whatnot, which is also very annoying. So I know like I consider Royal Knights, but I really wanted a different deck that kind of like fit the bill. And I tested Adventure for a while, and I think it was like about 3 weeks to a month. I tested Adventure for, and this deck went through a lot of different iterations. I will say, we went through a lot of different iterations, right? But what Zero and Hayes kind of arrived to was that like cut all the cute stuff and just play for the most clean way possible, right? Don't need any of those like Angelwomon warp shenanigans and whatnot, which I'll get to more in a bit, but rather just focusing on like having consistent kill pressure, having consistent defensive tools, having consistent searchability, like, you know, like searching and draw power and whatnot, right? That was kind of the goal. Consistent memory thresholds. Everything is consistent and uniform throughout the list, which I really like, which also means that no matter what combination of cards I draw into in my opening hand, generally they all work. It doesn't matter what Tamer I open in my opening hand, as long as I open a Tamer. It doesn't matter what rookie I open, as long as it's a rookie. It doesn't matter what 4 I open, as long as it's not this one. Like, all right, I have 7 out of 8, no, I have 7 chances out of my 8 to be perfect, right? Any of my 5s generally work for the most part, as long as you know, like, they all either remove. They can. A lot of them are like defensive tools. Mega Kabu is both offensive as well as defensive. So is Skull Greymon. Again, my 6s, the dual wielding, right, and then of course arguably one of the strongest cards in the format. And so for this, I played about. Okay, I basically was like playing Digimon every single day for like a month. I tried to play like 10 games of DCGO every single day at least, if I had the time. If I couldn't play DCGO, then I was trying to webcam people as much as possible, and I played a lot of webcam against people, which helped a lot. If I wasn't playing Digimon, I was thinking about Digimon. So I was thinking about like my matchup spreads and like how to optimize my first 3 turns in every single matchup, thinking about like, okay, like how do I, like, do I need to swing here, how do I stabilize versus this matchup? There was like a lot of like outside thought process that like went into how I was approaching the deck when I was playing it. And again, I'm the pilot, right? I'm not the guy who whipped up the list. It's just disclaimer. But I really wanted to like think about how we take adventure to the next level. I get it. Yeah, and so I thought about like a lot of different like ways that we could apply the deck to give it certain edges in various matchups. So to talk about the deck list, right? And again, I didn't make the list, but I've played the list a lot, so I feel like I have a pretty like good grasp on like what everything needs to do, what and all that other jazz. Suno Egg is by far your best choice. This egg, I mean, like the other one's like plus 1000 DP. This just grabs you back your pieces. It lets you be very aggressive on your first stack, because you can like Evo Rookie. If you go first, you go Evo Rookie, Slam Tamer, move out turn 2, swing Rookie die, grab back Rookie, Slam Tamer, and then turn 3 you Evo Rookie and back Slam 4 for reduced 2 cost, and then you like go off. And that's like your most like cookie cutter like first 3 turns in adventure. But it's a really good cookie cutter, right? It's just like a solid, consistent game plan. It doesn't matter what rookie, it doesn't matter what combination of Tamers, it doesn't matter what 4 minus Gatomon, right? And being able to consistently replicate those first 3 turns into most matchups was really good. There are a lot of games where like I don't even need to swing the rookie, and it's like if they don't remove the rookie, then I just grab back the rookie anyway. And so I can essentially replicate like the amount of tempo I'm generating without also risking like hitting training or like Membus or Tamers in certain matchups. So that's really good. And Sunomon, again, like you grab back your like 5s you need, 4s, whatever you need, right? It's just recursion's great. Bo, best searcher in the deck, grabs 2 cards, so it grabs 1 adventure Digimon and then 1 adventure Tamer or option. So this is just like really flexible. Being able to play this for cheap lets you dig very deep. Palmon, as well as the black option, only dig for 2. This digs for 3. So some cases where you're missing like a very specific piece. For a lethal line, the Biomon will get you there. You may notice we don't play any of the Warp Agu or the Warp Gabu. I think those cards are really good with Angewomon specifically, but Angewomon, the issue with Angewomon is that it's not a defensive card, right? If you notice, every single 5 in this deck it's a card that, when played off of the black option, has some sort of like defensive utility. Zudo strips and bounces. Mega Kabu can unsuspend and suspend. Lily bot decks. Metal Gray D Digivolves, and Skull Gray is retaliation, and then with blocker, yeah. So, because the Angewomon is very like single case use, like it does one thing, which is like allows you to like free evo. You can do like a little ping pong. You can turn your like Agumon into like a War Greymon or a Gabu into Melga, and that's cool and everything, sure. But you could generally do a lot of like these plays without needing to cheat the evolution. So like it's very like whatever. And so instead of running those, we instead opted for floodgates. Floodgates were really really great throughout the entire day. Gomamon is a memory blocker, whereas Tento is a cost reduction blocker. Both were good. They serve various they serve different purposes for different matchups. Goma is good into Megidra. It's good into Royal Knights. It's good into Imperial. It's really good into Sakuya. Granted, like Sakuya is like a lot better about like removing these floodgates, but still nonetheless. And so like those 4 matchups, Goma's really great into, and then you have like Tento, and like Tento's good into Megidra, Tento's good into Sakuya, Tento's good into Imperial. Anything with training, anything with boost, these cards are just fantastic. So really loved having access to these floodgates. And because of the Zuno egg, what it meant was that even though they remove the floodgate, you can generally grab back the floodgate. So it was really good at walling out your opponent. And then 2 Palmon. We just wanted some additional consistency in the deck, just being able to draw additional cards. So having 6 rookies that dig your deck was really nice. Your level 4 lineup. So Burdra is probably your best level 4. So Togemon plus 1000 DP both players' turns. While it is good and it does make your blocker a little bit better, it does mean your level 6s then hit 13k. So then they're susceptible to the Gallantmons. Which is not really good. That's very bad. Fun fact. So Bergermon is the better of the 2. But we wanted to maximize as much as possible, quote unquote. I say maximize because like obviously we're not playing 8, we're playing 7. And that's for like a very specific reason. But yeah, we just want to see this as much as possible because like they're just so good. Like you can revive it off of Melga, you can slam it, you can slam multiple in a turn, like you can evolve into it. Like it's just, you could do so much with these cards that like it was just very flexible, and I wanted to consistently have access to multiple copies throughout the game. And so the one of Gato, I think Gato is not that good. If I'm being frank, it's probably one of the worst level 4s in Adventure, to be honest. But there are no other level 4s in Adventure that serve its purpose. So it is technically one of the worst, but it's also the only card that does what it does. And that is being a security bomb. And so what I mean by that, so yes, Ikakumon is a security bomb. Before you're like so Ikakumon comes out of security, strips 2, and like stuns. It doesn't always stun. And that's the big thing here, right? Ikakumon is strip 2, and if they have no source, then you can stun it. But if you're playing at stack decks or anything like that, you strip 2, they have sources, you can't stun it, you're still in lethal range. Gatomon, on the other hand, when played from security, is a sec -1 to 2 different Digimon. So when we were playing Adventure, a lot of players kind of just like disrespected you because they were like, okay, well, no, like generally the Adventure players all have kind of like the same security. It's all like primarily Tamers and whatnot. So like you're not really at risk of like dying and whatnot. Like your lethal line is not like really at risk of like being denied. And so I wanted, like Vincent and Zero or Hazen Zero we wanted a card that was a sec bomb for the deck, an archetype sec bomb especially, right? So this card, not only does it fill that specific niche, it contributes towards the consistency of the deck because it is a level 4 we can evolve into. It denies lethal. You can play it off a black option as well if you want to deny lethal via that way. If none of the 5s will accomplish that, and I mean randomly the -2 will come up, I guess sometimes. If you like need to kill a floodgate or something, I guess. But also being able to evolve into this and get the sec minus means that you can get really creative about how you're denying lethal. So while I do think these are amazing, we really just wanted to have some form of sec bomb. I only hit this out of security once during my entire regional run, and it did not do shit when it came out of security. But it was very useful in my like round. I think it was round 7. It was my round 7 Royal Knight matchup that I used this to stave off lethal. Okay, going into our fives. Mega Kabu is by far the best level 5. It is both an offensive as well as defensive level 5, which none of the other 5s, minus like Skull Greymon, sometimes Skull Greymon, can do. Because like Zudo, Lily, Battle Gray are all defensive 5s. And Mega Kabu is like, I'm going to suspend your stuff, but also I'm going to unsuspend my stuff so I can beat you even harder. So yeah, Mega Kabu is amazing. Is by far the best 5 in the entire deck. Lily is the second best 5 in the deck because being able to suspend Omekamon and then bot deck Omekamon is so important. And just in general, the suspend it suspends 5,000 or less, but then it bot decks anything that is suspended as for every 2 colors. So like large threats, like if they swing and they pop and then you trigger black option, they go Lily and then like you bot deck them and you're like, okay, cool. And bot decking is so significant because it means you're not giving them back that piece, right? Which I think was really important. So Lily and Mega Kabu, and also you can like Mega Kabu stun something and then you like go Lily afterward, and then like that's a crazy combination right there. Zudo's really good. Zudo is able to strip problematic sources like Partition from Pyildramon, or you strip the Partition from Pyildra, or you strip Pyildra itself if it's under like Dragon Mode or something. You can also use this to like bounce tokens versus like RK if they get like really problematic, and like if you bounce a token, like it just goes away. And in general, yeah, having the flexibility to strip stuff that could be like annoying was really good. Metal Gray's D-Digivolve. D-Digivolve is really important versus the Sakuya matchup because you're able to then just like D-Digivolve their Ruin mode if it's like swinging. So like versus Sakuya, if they go like Ruin mode, swing, and then you go block with a 5, and then like black option into Metal Gray, D-Digivolve them down, and then you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, and then like in general, like the D-Digivolve was just kind of nice. Like one game, I forced my opponent to use the Omeka Omni X combo, and then I immediately D-Digivolved his Omni X down into an Omeka, and then I dropped a Lily and then bot decked the Omeka, and I was like, okay, cool, dope. So yeah, Metal Gray is pretty solid. I thought it would be very dead into a Royal Knight, but surprisingly, it actually won me a game because I was able to get rid of his Omni X, and then like yeah. Skull Gray, this card, I got a lot of comments from people telling me like they didn't realize how good this card was and like how I was like wielding it, especially in my finals match, which is on stream if you want to watch it, from PlayTCG. This card is really good as both an offensive as well as defensive card. How I was leveraging this card a lot was I was giving Raid Retaliation to like my rookies or like stacks I really didn't care about, and then sending them to like remove my opponent's larger threats. And then like because of Suno Egg, I would just grab back the rookie anyway, or like grab back whatever piece I need. Because you're Raid Retaliating, it means the Sunomon Egg is guaranteed to go off, so you're guaranteed grabbing back a piece. And then I also then I can preserve my Skull Greymon for like a future turn or something like that. Skull Greymon as a defensive tool is also really good because like with blocker tie especially, because you have Skull Grey, Raid Retal, you block, you kill whatever they swung with, and then you float into like a 4, and then that 4 can like evolve into like a different 5, and then you also have black option too, so you can like float into like 2 different things. So it's like really really flexible. So yeah, and then our 6th lineup, Metal Garurumon. It has the best removal because it's target removal. And being able to spawn a body, I mean, you just spawn the 4, then you combo off with that. So it's just like, this is the 6 that like gives you the most aggression as well as being a really strong defensive tool. And bounce is just strong in the format. And then Wargreymon. Wargreymon is good, and it does come up a lot randomly. But definitely it's very one note compared to Metal Garurumon. I think where Wargreymon kind of shines, the immunity is really nice. It just makes it so a lot of your plays are super safe. Because you can like immune like your board, so then you don't get like Omni X comboed. And then removal, it's when digivolving, when attacking, so you go into this for 3, pop something, swing, pop something, and then you can like cheat out the 4 to go into Mega Kabu, unsuspend Wargreymon, swing again, pop something, which is really cool. So yeah, you can use like you can leverage Wargreymon like that. We just wanted to have like consistent aces, but also like just like primarily focusing on Metal Garurumon. And then your Tamer lineup, you may notice we're not playing Mem Boost compared to our earlier adventure builds, and the reason why is because instead of playing the Mem Boost, which is like you have to play the Mem Boost and then you have to play the Tamer, so it's like slowing you down by a turn. We've just like decided to play more Tamers because all the Tamers either generate they either generate memory or they reduce cost or they all reduce cost. So to be specific, but so we just like went more all in on like the generating the value via Tamers because you need to set up the colors anyways, right? So we're trying to speed the deck up as much as possible. Because we play 3 Mat TK and because this is like the most important 3-cost Tamer, arguably the most important Tamer in general, because we play 3 of this, we play 3 of this one, so that way we have a 4-color combination as soon as possible, or like more likely. And then 2 Tai Izzy, blocker is really strong at setting up black option plus skull, and just like being able to also just like wall out your opponent is really good into like a Royal Knight as well, because then you just like keep like constantly floating into a blocker. And then other color combination, and then Tai is a 2 of. I know a lot of people play this at like 3, but the 2 of is fine, I think, because you don't want to see it super late in the game necessarily, because like it's a 4 cost, so it's kind of expensive, but if you see it early game you feel really good about it. So it's just trying to like mitigate like the amount of like diminishing returns and like dead cards in your hand later in the game. And then Our Courage United, I mean, this card is just like broken. It's a draw 2 that lets you float whenever level 5 or higher adventure is like removed, period. Or level 5 or higher Digimon, but like in this deck it's all adventure. And so just like, yeah, it's just an insane defensive tool that like most decks can't really play through. And so my matchups for the day, I can pull it up. I had, let's see, round 1 was okay, and this is like from the best of my memory. I didn't take notes unfortunately because I didn't think about it at the time, but my first opponent, and again all my opponents were really, really nice. Round 1 I 2-0'd Royal Knights. They didn't have Omni X to lethal me on their Omni turn, and so I was able to like stabilize after that because they didn't have a Yggdrasil anymore to like keep making plays. My round 2 was Dorbrick. That was a really funny one because turn 3 he went Dorbrick combo, put me to 0, and if he had Omni X I also would have died, which is a really funny recurring theme. But adventure, like once you set up this black option, it's like really hard for them to like make a play. Round 3 was Crossheart, and this person, really cool person. We talked like the entire day basically, and they were on my list, but they swapped out the Can't Turn My Back for Dorulu Cannon, which Can't Turn My Back, if you watched my video, was originally designed specifically for the adventure matchup, so not having this definitely made his life a little bit harder, I would say. And he almost OTK'd me on turn 2 with Omni Shout looping, but on the very last check, his Omni Shout finally died, and then I was able to just stabilize the game after that, because like once you establish this black option, Crossheart can't like do anything, because EX6 will always trigger black option no matter what you do, basically. Like you minus 5,000, and then if you swing, you pop. You're forced to pop. If you force to pop, then they trigger black option. If they go EX6 minus 5 into Shooting Star, it triggers black option. So really, yeah, you Can't Turn My Back. Round 4 was Imperial. I basically just went face, like super fast, and took out my opponent's security before they were really able to respond. My round 5 was also Imperial. My opponent saw Daiken turn 1 all 3 games. This is the first game. This is the first match I actually lost. Prior to this, I 2-0'd every single match. This round 5 was the first match I actually lost a game. He saw Daiken turn 1 every single game, but game 2 and game 3, he didn't have enough resources to keep generating value off the Daiken, because I would remove the rookies immediately from the board, and eventually he just ran out of gas. Round 6, I was on stream. This was versus Royal Knights. This was... So game 1, I had like a really awkward hand. I do remember that. And then game 2, I think I fumbled lethal. And then I just like had to salvage the game state as much as possible, trying to like not get killed by like the Omni turn. And then like eventually I was able to like win out because like black option is crazy good. I think at some point he like swung, and then I like Melga aced his Oryukin to then like steal back turn and then lethaled off of that. But then we ended up tying, so that was my one not win of the day. Round 7 was Royal Knights. Round 8 was Royal Knight. Wait, hang on. Round 1 was Royal Knights. Round, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Round 6 was Royal Knights. That was on stream. Round 7 was Royal Knights. Round 8 was Royal Knights. And then round 9 was versus Heroes. So Adventure has a very good Royal Knight matchup, if you couldn't tell by now. And outside of the one loss to Imperial and then like the tie to Royal Knight in round 6, I 2-0'd every single other Royal Knight. And I can talk about the matchup more in detail later. But versus Hero in the final, I think the matchup was just like super skewed. Because like, what do you do to Black Option? Like, the answer is nothing as Hero. So he's always just walking into it. But Sakib was a really, really cool dude. I had such a great time with him. We were just like laughing the entire time in the finals. Like, it was like so, like, it was serious, but also like it was unserious. Like, we were both just having like a blast. Like game 1, if you watch the finals, I swing at his security, and like if any of my swings, if any of them die, I have lethal. Like, I just straight up have lethal. But none of them died because I hit 3 Tamers in a row. And I was like, oh shit. And he effectively had like 14 memory to play with on his turn because I didn't have a rookie, I didn't have a 4, I had like nothing. I literally had nothing. So I slammed like Metal Gray, choked him to like 2, and then was like, okay, let's see what happened. Oh no, I think I had level 4 and then like evolved into Metal Gray, whatever. But like I didn't have Rush Tamer, which would have made life a lot easier, for sure. But yeah, so like he had 14 memory to play with, but he inevitably lost to a combination of Skull Gray plus Black Option game 1, and he like revealed his last security, and it was another Tamer, and I was like, oh my god. And then game 2, I just Black Optioned him, and there really wasn't anything he could do. But again, it was really fun. I had a blast. So that's kind of like the tournament recap. It was just a lot of Royal Knights, surprisingly. And so for the matchup spread, not matchup spread. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like how you do your matchups. Magidra's very easy on average because they generally don't OTK you per se. They just like 3-4 check you turn 2, turn 3, and then they try to like follow up afterward. Like, generally it's a 2-turn kill deck. And Adventure is really good at stabilizing. Like, if you set up 2 Tamers with the 3 color combination, generally 4, you're usually set for like the rest of the game. Because once you've established like your defensive wall, like you have blocker, Black Option, Melga Ace, like you just have some, like, and all your 5s are like really good into them. Like, you either devolve them, you bounce them, you strip them, whatever it is. It's just really good. You also have memory blocker, rejection blocker. So this is stopping mem boost. This stops mem boost graph crush. This stops training. Yeah, stops training. So yeah, really good. Versus Magidra. And then like if they hit your security for like a bunch of checks, you also just like can hit Tamer out of security because you play what's this? It's like 6. You play 12 Tamers, actually. So it's a really high chance that they hit a Tamer out of security, too. So they hit 1 Tamer out of security, then like you're just set for the rest of the game. Royal Knights is an easy matchup. You just constantly bot deck the Omega. You can just... being able to play off of no board... because, like, Royal Knights can't interact with Tamers, which is a really big thing, because it means you're constantly having all these resources that they really can't deny, and you just, like, play off of that. And so, like, yeah, you bot deck the Omega, you can just suspend, like, their bodies, you can, like, defensively wall out an entire Omni turn. There's, like, just, like, a lot you can do. Sakuya is a bit harder, but it's winnable. It's just kind of hard. You have tools to deny the Ruin Lock. Like, you have blocker plus, like, blocker Black Option. You can, like, deny Ruin Lock. And then, like, sorry, I just got back to Houston today. Apologies. But yeah, so like you like Black Option, Skull Gray, blocker, whatever. You can like stop the Ruin Lock. if they Valder you, it gets like really annoying because then like it's like really like all your on plays are denied, so you can't like defensively wall them out. And sometimes they just like ruin lock you a little too fast, and then like all your fours are dead because they're both 4K, so they just like die to the -5. And if they get -10, then Sonic could even slam a 5 to like make a play either. So that part's annoying. But I think Sakuya is winnable. I was testing into the Kurova build, and he's like, yeah, you like get like double floodgate, and then like they really can't do very much to stop you. So that was nice. Levia is kind of the same bag as Sakuya, but yeah, it's more or less the same bag. They can pop your Tamers and stuff. They can ruin lock you. They swing for like so many checks. If you get a Tamer out of security, they can like evolve Levia X, which is really annoying. But again, you can just like double floodgate them and like try to like leverage that. Because if you black option, then they go like Biting Crush, they go like Levia X, and then you're just like, oh man, that feels bad. Imperial is difficult, I would definitely say. It's hard, but it's winnable again. Specifically because like Pyldra stuns your entire board, and like you just really can't do anything about it. And then like to deal with Partition or to deal with Pyldra, you have to like Zudo or like Metal Gray it. You like Zudo Metal Gray, or like you force its Partition, and you like go to like double 4, and then you like Lilymon bot deck both. So there is some like ways you can play that matchup. The thing about Adventure that I think is really strong is that it only has like one matchup I don't think you can win. Because like every other matchup, you're either favored or you could skill gap. The one matchup I think is like literally impossible is like Galacti. Because it turns out having Promo Destro just like snipe every single Tamer on your board is really bad. Because all these 3-cost Tamers, like it's so rough. Yeah, I think Galacti is like really the only matchup where it's like you can't afford it. But versus, there are oftentimes versus most matchups, you're just like Evo Rookie and back, play Tamer, turn 2, swing Rookie, and then like you don't care about like what you chip. But there are certain decks you just can't afford to chip and give them like a resource that accelerates the game. You cannot chip versus Sakuya, because if you hit like a boost or a training, you might, or like a Rika, you just like might blow yourself out. Versus Megidra, you can't risk hitting like any resources for them, and versus Levia, you can't risk hitting any resources for them. Versus Daiken, there's an argument. Versus Imperial, there's an argument you want to avoid hitting Daiken, but like your board, once it gets stunned, it's really hard to play the game. So I kind of just like want to push as much damage as possible, so I can make my lethal turns a lot easier later down the line. And then Royal Knights, I don't care if I hit Cool Boy or Mecha or whatever, I'm still just like going face and like putting them on a timer. So yeah, that is the tournament report for Adventure. Like I said, I think this is the very first official Bandai Adventure top/win in the entire world post-unification. So we finally put it on the map. For the longest time, if it's everyone just like shit on Adventure, they said like it wasn't a good deck, it was too complicated, which I mean, it is complicated. But they just like kept shitting on Adventure, and finally it has now joined the ranks. So yippee! Again, shout out to Zero and Hayes for the list. Could not have done it without them. And all my friends with all the encouraging messages telling me like I got this, because like I was very anxious during this entire event. I was just like, I didn't want to like disappoint people or like disappoint myself, because I put a lot of work into practicing for this event, and like if I didn't do well at the event, I would have been like really sad, because then it's like, oh well, there goes my, you know, like all my time feels like kind of like just blew up in my face. But luckily it did not. We got the win. And yeah, subscribe to the Hoang Zero YouTube channel, and check out my Patreon. My Patreon will have some more competitive content where we'll do like POV matches, and you know, like maybe we'll do like a POV adventure match, so that way you can like see like my POV on how like a regional winner Hoang Zero plays adventure kind of thing. So yeah, and yeah, that's all I got. Peace out.